We've all heard about how psychedelics can change your mind, right? The profound experiences, the altered consciousness. But what if? What if their biggest secret has nothing to do with the trip at all? What if it's about physically rebuilding the brain? Well, today we're going to dive into some absolutely groundbreaking research from UC Davis that shows how these molecules might literally be rewiring our neural circuits from the ground up. Okay, so this one image right here, it's the graphical abstract from the paper, and honestly, it tells the whole story in a nutshell. Look at the top. You've got this kind of simple-looking neuron, but then, down below, after it's been exposed to what the researchers call a psychoplastogen, and don't worry, we'll get to that term, that same neuron has just exploded with complexity. It's so much more branched out. And I want to be clear, this is not a metaphor, this is a real physical transformation. So, why is this growth such a big deal? Well, to get that, you have to understand the problem they're trying to solve. For a long time, we thought of things like depression as just a chemical imbalance. But now there's a ton of evidence showing it's also linked to something physical, something called neuronal atrophy. That's a fancy way of saying that in key parts of the brain, your brain cells can literally shrink and lose their connections. They kind of wither away. But, and this is the hopeful part, our brains have this amazing built-in superpower called neural plasticity. It's the ability to fight back, to grow, to adapt, and to build brand new connections. And listen, this isn't just some abstract theory. We've already seen this in action. The drug ketamine has totally shaken up the world of psychiatry. Why? Because it showed that if you can find a way to jumpstart that neuroplasticity, you can get these unbelievably fast and powerful antidepressant effects. It's like it reverses that withering process. And the key thing is, it works, and it works fast. So that's what set the stage for this whole study. Everyone knew that classic psychedelics, things like psilocybin and LSD, also seem to have these fast-acting, long-lasting antidepressant effects. So the big question was, how? Could they be tapping into that very same mechanism as ketamine? Could it be that they are also physically rebuilding the brain? Right, so the researchers decided to start with the most basic question you could ask. They said, look, let's forget about the whole psychedelic trip for a second. Let's just ask, do these chemicals in a petri dish literally make brain cells grow? They put it to the test, and the answer they got back was a resounding yes. And get a load of this. This is the raw data, and honestly, the picture says it all. It is visually stunning. Just look at the image on the left. That's a tracing of a normal, everyday neuron. But then look at the one on the right. That's a neuron after it's been hanging out with some LSD. It's a totally different beast. I mean, look at that explosion of new branches, the complexity. It's like watching a dead tree in winter suddenly burst into full bloom. And this wasn't just a fluke with LSD. This chart here shows it loud and clear. It's basically putting numbers to what we just saw with our eyes. You see that VEH bar on the left? That's the control group, the baseline. Now look at the others, DOI, DMT, and LSD. These are all different types of psychedelics, and they all caused a huge, measurable jump in the number of branches. The effect is real, and it's consistent. There's a cool scientific name for this, by the way. It's called neuronephrotogenesis. Sounds complicated, but it's simple when you break it down. Neuro for neuron, and genesis for creation or birth. So it's literally the birth of new neurites, which are just those branches that let neurons reach out and talk to each other. And the bottom line is, a more complex neuron is a better connected, healthier neuron. Okay, so the neurons are growing all these new big branches. That's awesome. But, a branch is useless unless it can actually connect to something, right? For neurons to talk, they need connection points. So let's zoom in, like way in, and see what's happening at the micro level. Using some seriously high-tech microscopy, the scientists were able to zoom into a mind-boggling level of detail. What you're looking at here? That's not even a whole neuron. That's just one tiny little piece of one of those branches we were just talking about. And you see all those tiny little bumps covering it? Those are called dendritic spines, and they are everything. Think of them like the little electrical outlets, the actual connection points where one neuron plugs into the next. And again, when you look at the data, it's just, wow. This chart is measuring how many of those little outlets, those spines there are. And all three of these compounds, DOI, DMT, and LSD, they all caused a massive jump in how dense those spines were. I mean, look at LSD, it nearly doubled the number of them. This is so important because it shows the neurons weren't just growing empty branches. They were building more and more potential connection points. All right, so this is the really crucial question, isn't it? It's great to have a house wired with 1,000 new electrical outlets, but is there any power running to them? Are these new connections actually, working? Are they passing signals back and forth? And boom, here's the proof. What we're looking at now are actual electrical recordings from the neurons. It's like we're eavesdropping on their conversations. Every one of those little vertical spikes is a signal, a message being sent. On the left, you've got the control neurons. Kind of chill, just a baseline of activity. But now, look at the right. Those are the neurons that were treated with DMT. It's not just a little busier. The signals are happening more often, and they're stronger. This is it. This is the proof that all that new hardware, all those new branches and spines, are creating a more active, more robust communication network. Okay, let's just take a breath and recap. We've seen that psychedelics make neurons grow new branches, they make them grow new connection points, and those new connections are actually working. So the what is established. Now for the really cool part, the how. How on earth is this happening on a molecular level? Yeah, think about it. How can one tiny little molecule from the outside come in and flip a switch inside a neuron that tells it to start this massive construction project? What's the chain reaction going on inside the cell? So how do you figure out exactly which molecular gears are turning? Well, scientists have this classic, brilliant trick. They break stuff on purpose. It's like flipping off one specific circuit breaker in your house to see which lights go dark. In this case, they used a special molecule to block a key pathway called TRKB. And the result? It's right there in the graph. The psychedelic by itself causes that huge burst of growth we've been seeing. But when they add the blocker, the thing that shuts down TRKB, poof, the effect is gone, completely stopped. This is what you call a smoking gun. It's the absolute proof that this TRKB pathway is essential for the whole process. So here's the whole chain reaction, broken down into simple steps. Step 1, the psychedelic molecule docks onto its main target, the serotonin 2A receptor. Step 2, that kicks off a signal that triggers that super important TKB pathway we just talked about. Step 3, the TKB pathway then wakes up this master growth engine inside the cell called mTOR. And step 4, the end result of that whole cascade, you guessed it, neuron growth. This whole discovery that psychedelics tap into this fundamental growth pathway in the brain was so big that the researchers realized we needed a whole new name, a whole new category for these kinds of drugs. And the term they came up with is psychoplastogen. It comes from Greek, psycho meaning mind or soul, and plastogen meaning to mold or to shape. So a psychoplastogen is literally a mind molder. It's any substance that has this ability to promote the brain's plasticity. It's a name that gets right to the heart of what these things do, not just what they make you feel. And this is where it all comes full circle and connects right back to ketamine. Just look at this table. It's pretty amazing. Ketamine and classic psychedelics, they hit completely different targets when they first enter the brain. One hits the NMDA receptor, the other hits the serotonin 2A receptor. But look what happens next. Further down the line, they both end up activating the exact same master growth engine, mTOR. And they both produce the exact same result, neural plasticity. It's just a beautiful analogy. They are two completely different keys, made for two completely different locks, but somehow they both unlock the very same door, and behind that door is brain growth. So what does this all mean? Well, the implications are huge. For one, it gives us a real, solid biological reason for why these things might work so well as fast-acting antidepressants. It offers a ton of hope for people with depression that doesn't respond to other treatments. And maybe the most exciting part, it gives us a blueprint. If we know this is the pathway for growth, maybe, just maybe, we can design new medicines that flip that switch without causing the whole psychedelic trip. And that's really the ultimate goal here. The authors of this study said it themselves. If we can find a way to get this incredible brain rebuilding effect on its own, that could completely change the game for how we treat all sorts of neuropsychiatric diseases. So that leaves us with this one final, really provocative question. For thousands of years, we've focused on the psychedelic experience. But what if this research is telling us that a different, maybe even more powerful, secret has been hiding inside these molecules all along? The secret of how to literally regrow and rewire the brain. And if we can learn to harness that, well, the future of mental health treatment might be about to get a whole lot brighter.